person anymore. And I have found that there is incredible power in prayer and mindfulness and healing contemplation. And so today we're going to start with a new prayer from my Dr. Flo's book of uncommon prayers, because they are prayers that you usually hear in the world. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, yada, yada, yada. But there are also prayers that we pray for uncommon circumstances and situations. And today, if you're joining us, we're about to start a masterclass on healing stage fright, which plagues 77% of people on a casual level and about 15% of people on a crippling level. And so today, we offer a prayer and a contemplation on stage fright through the prism of love and action. So let's start here, and we'll conclude with an amen, ashe, or whatever you're comfortable with, and then we'll go into tonight's masterclass. Divine creator of voice, expression, and courageous truth. Let's try that again. Divine creator of voice, expression, and courageous truth. We lift up every person who trembles before being seen, every singer whose breath shortens before the first note, every speaker whose mind races before the microphone turns on, every actor, teacher, leader, creator, student, and dreamer who carries fear in the very moment they are called to shine. We bring before you the hidden panic before performance, the shaking hands, the tightening chest, the spiraling thoughts, the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of humiliation, the fear that one mistake could define our worth. Divine love, remind us that stage fright is not weakness. It is often the collision between deep sensitivity and deep calling. Through the spirit of love in action, teach us to stop shaming ourselves for being human in visible spaces. Help us remember that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to show up while fear is present. Calm the nervous systems of performers. Steady the breath of anxious voices. Ground the bodies of those who feel unsafe being witnessed. Help us stop confusing perfection with purpose. Teach us that authentic connection matters more than flawless execution. And when memories of embarrassment, rejection, criticism, or failure rise within us, meet us there with compassion instead of condemnation. Heal the performer who learned that mistakes make them unworthy. Heal the child who became afraid of being laughed at. Heal the artist who started hiding after one painful experience. Divine presence. Replace performance anxiety with embodied trust. Trust in preparation. Trust in growth. Trust in the message. Trust in the voice that the universe placed within us. May Love and Action Network become a sanctuary for visible people, a place where performers are supported emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and professionally, a place where people are taught not only technique, but safety, confidence, resilience, and self-compassion. Surround every stage, platform, live stream, rehearsal room, classroom, and audition space with peace. And when fear becomes loud, remind us why we began. Not for applause alone, not for validation alone, but because expression is sacred. Storytelling is sacred. Music is sacred. Truth is sacred. Divine love, help us step forward anyway, with trembling perhaps, but also with honesty, with nerves perhaps, but also with purpose. Let our voices move beyond fear and become instruments of healing, connection, courage, and transformation. And may every person hiding behind stage fright one day discover that their voice was never the enemy. Fear was simply asking for love, support, and safety. Amen. 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 People are our greatest resource is back. Sending love to Dr. Flo. I see you. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. You're loved and lovable. I think you'll get a kick out of today's discussion. Stage fright isn't weakness. Understanding performance anxiety like a professional. Infinite gratitude to you as well. We're all loved and lovable, and we are worthy of sharing our stories. And I hope that something that's shared tonight on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube is a blessing to the world and to all of you in particular. Amen. Amen. And a woman and a trans person and a child. Everybody. Good evening once again. Tonight, I want to begin by saying something that I wish more performers, artists, speakers, creators, worship leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals understood. Stage fright is not proof that you are weak. Stage fright is proof that your nervous system believes something important is happening. There are people with extraordinary gifts who shake before auditions. There are Grammy-winning singers who throw up before performances. There are actors who disassociate backstage. There are speakers who forget entire sections of their presentations. Y'all heard me trip up over the first line when I started the prayer tonight. And there are creators who procrastinate because visibility feels emotionally dangerous. And because society romanticizes confidence, many talented people secretly believe if I were truly gifted, I wouldn't feel this afraid. If I were truly gifted, I wouldn't feel this afraid. That is false. Fear is biological. Performance anxiety is physiological. Visibility, such as what's happening on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, this level of visibility activates survival systems in my human body and in your human body. And the goal is not to become fearless. The goal is to become trained. Professional performers do not eliminate fear. They build systems that allow them to perform while fear is present. And that changes everything. So some of you who have been coming to the master classes last month and this month know that I give a robust master class. I do not skimp on the fixins. And I'm about to take you as quickly as I can through 10 talking points all about how stage fright isn't weakness, okay? The first point that we'll make tonight is what stage fright is actually biologically. Stage fright, for those of you wondering, and I coach and heal this and help to facilitate healing within people around stage fright. I do it almost every day in my coaching practice. Stage fright is a nervous system response. Your body does not always distinguish between physical danger, emotional exposure, social rejection, public embarrassment, and a threat to your identity. Once again, your body does not always distinguish between physical danger, emotional exposure, social rejection, public embarrassment, and a threat to your identity. To the nervous system, being judged by a crowd can feel very similar to survival danger. Your amygdala activates, stress hormones increase, adrenaline floods the body, heart rate increases, muscles tighten, breathing changes, sweat production increases for those of you who have sweaty palms when it comes time to present yourself to the world. Your body prepares for survival. And the problem is that most people interpret this activation as failure instead of preparation. Your body is saying something important is happening, not you are incapable. It's a very important moment in the masterclass. Your body is saying to you something important is happening, not you are incapable. And many artists and individuals panic because they panic about the panic. And the secondary fear creates a spiral. Professionals learn to reinterpret that activation. Instead of, oh no, I'm nervous, they learn my body is mobilizing energy. Write that down. My body is mobilizing energy. My body is mobilizing energy. That mindset shift alone can radically change your performance outcomes. Next, let's talk about fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses in performers. Most people know all about fight and flight, but few people and performers understand freeze and fawn. And all four show up constantly in creative spaces. Let's talk first about fight. The performer becomes irritated, controlling, defensive, aggressive, and overly perfectionistic in that fight response. Some examples are snapping at collaborators, criticizing others backstage, angry rehearsals, over controlling creative environments. Another response is the flight response, avoidance. Examples of this include procrastinating during your rehearsals, canceling your opportunities, disappearing online. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever said, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. Social media is just, oh my God. I work with people every week. They're like, social media, I just can't take it, Dr. Flo. I need to disappear. Has anybody else taken a social media break, or you spiritual people, have you taken a social media fast? There are tons of spiritual people and religious people doing a social media fast. Are they disappearing online because of spiritual reasons, or it's because of a flight stress response to the anxiety of being online? Okay. You'll also avoid auditions if you're a performer, and you'll also forget deadlines. I see you, Holy Misfit. Welcome back to Love in Action. It's good to see you, Soul Fam. Another stress response that performers and everyday people have to the anxiety of showing up on stage is a freeze response, a mental shutdown. This looks like blanking on lyrics, forgetting your choreography, having a full-blown dissociation, numbness, and the inability to speak naturally. They'll go live, or they'll go on stage, or they'll show up in their boardroom, or they'll show up at work, and all of a sudden it's like, I really want to share myself, but that's not how you naturally speak. That's not how words naturally come out of your face. Why do you talk one way when you're with your family and with your friends and another way at work? You could be experiencing a freeze response as it relates to showing up. Whew. The last one, we have a whole 12-step program that we do daily on Clubhouse and TikTok around this. This is the fawn response. People who are nervous speakers or have stage fright, they will go into a fawn response. This is where you people please for safety and you people please for public safety. So some examples of the fawn response is overperforming emotionally or apologizing constantly, abandoning your artistic instincts, or shape shifting and putting on masks for people in order to avoid criticism. There are people in my past who don't even know who I really am because they met a fake fawning version of me in a past life. So there are people from 20 years ago who think they know me, but they have no clue because they met a phony version of me. These are people who I worked with in aviation or in banking or on Broadway. These are people that I went to church with. The reason why you don't see a lot of people from my past in these TikTok rooms is because I did a lot of shape shifting to avoid criticism. Okay? I'm an assigned black at birth, gay kid from the South. So to avoid being criticized for my skin color or the way I spoke or how I choose to love, I did a lot of shape shifting. Good to see you, KM. Did a lot of shape shifting to avoid criticism. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever shape shifted like an X-Men to avoid criticism. Any other shape shifters or recovering shape shifters in the room? Shape shifting is not just something for a Marvel movie. Okay. I see y'all. KM Essentials Magic here, Terra Paola Studio. Oh man, have I shape shifted? You know, I think I've joked and told you all in the past about how for at least 12 years of my life, I pretended to be a half Dominican, half Puerto Rican person. I thought it made me cooler. Porque yo puedo hablar contigo en español. People are like, oh, you speak Spanish. Where are you from? I'd be like, I'm Dominican, half Puerto Rican. I am not half Dominican and I'm not half Puerto Rican. I'm not. I thought, KM, I thought that it would make me cooler. When really what's cool is that I am a nigga from the South, which is a word I'm not supposed to use according to the PR team. I'm not supposed to use the N word when I'm doing my master classes. But I am a nigga from the South who learned on my own how to speak Spanish. Of course, I had teachers and professors and things like that, but I learned how to speak Spanish. Así yo puedo hablar contigo en español. Viví a muchos países, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Venezuela. And instead of telling people my truth that I'm a black man who speaks multiple languages, I shape shifted. And I lived 12 years of my life telling every new person I met that I was half Dominican, half Puerto Rican. I promise you, both of my parents are very black from Virginia. So sometimes when you have stage fright or you're uncomfortable with who you are on camera or in real life, TikTok or real talk, you will shape shift to avoid criticism from people. And many talented artists and people are not lazy, they are dysregulated. And this distinction matters because you cannot shame a nervous system into sustainable confidence. Write that down. I cannot shame my nervous system into sustainable confidence. You may be able to shame yourself for a little bit and push yourself out there to get that job, to do that interview, to do that audition, to get that role. You may be able to shame yourself for a little bit, but it's not sustainable confidence. It will eventually fail you and fall away if you are shaming your nervous system into getting the job done. Let's move forward. Let's talk about why talented artists and humans panic before performing or coming out on TikTok or going to an interview or going out in the world and sharing their magic. Your talent does not remove your vulnerability. In fact, gifted people often feel more pressure. Let me tell you why. Talented people and gifted people usually care deeply. Okay? Drop a 1 in the chat if you care very deeply about your dream and your message. And they attach that identity to performance. They fear losing approval. They fear humiliation. They fear disappointing people. I see you, Thinning Veil. They fear not matching expectations. And many artists grew up receiving love primarily through achievement. So many of us as humans, and especially us performer types and outspoken types and outgoing types, we received a lot of love because of what we could achieve. So your performance stops feeling like expression. It becomes emotional survival. Now, every performance in your life feels loaded. Imagine if I came in here tonight to present to all of you. There's about 7 people here on TikTok and 1 person hanging out on YouTube and Facebook, but then this is going to go out and be presented to 10,000 people that follow me. Imagine if I started feeling like this presentation was loaded. Don't make a mistake, Dr. Flo. Don't mess up your words. Don't appear human. Imagine if I started to make it heavy. What if I started to make every time I went live feel loaded? If I fail, maybe I lose value. If I fail, maybe I lose belonging. If I fail, maybe people will stop respecting me. Maybe y'all will stop calling me Dr. Flo if I fail. He ain't no real doctor. If I fail, maybe people will stop respecting me. That's not weakness. That is unresolved emotional conditioning. And many artists and humans that want to express themselves have also experienced bullying, rejection, public criticism, church wounds, family invalidation, social anxiety, and trauma around visibility. I'm going to read that list one more time because this is what I work with my clients on facing week after week and day after day. If you want to know who the big bad wolves are, it ain't you. It's the bullying, the rejection, the public criticism, the church wounds, the family invalidation, the social anxiety, and the trauma around visibility. And let me tell you something, you got to know how to name a thing to heal a thing. If this was a church service, I would start running the aisles. I would start running the aisles because some people don't know exactly what the things are that are growling under their bed. I'm coming off my notes real quick because I can feel my help coming. Oh, proud to Boomer. I can feel my help coming, y'all, because some people can hear the growl. It's keeping you from going for a new position at your job. It's keeping you from interviewing for a new job. It's keeping you from asking for a raise. It's keeping you from singing at karaoke. It's keeping you from the great sex, great food, great adventures, and the great rest that comes from great income. It's keeping you from all of those things. And you're like, what is growling at me? What is taking me further away from my purpose? Let me name it again for you. Bullying, rejection, public criticism, church wounds, family invalidation, social anxiety, and trauma around visibility. Those are the things that go bump in the night. Put a 2 in the chat if you've experienced one or some or all of these things. I have experienced bullying. I have experienced rejection. I have faced public criticism. I have church wounds. I see you, Thinning Veil. I have family invalidation. I have social anxiety. I have trauma around visibility. And when you have those things in your life, every stage that you're standing on, whether it's on TikTok or Real Talk, which is what I call the real world, every stage becomes psychologically charged. The body remembers those experiences. And it remembers especially the things that the conscious mind tries to minimize. Any questions? We're about to move into talk 8.4. Any questions about bullying, rejection, public criticism, church wounds, family invalidation, social anxiety, or trauma around visibility? I'm Dr. Flo. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I've experienced all of those. Sheesh. Sheesh. Good, as my deceased grandma would say, good googly moogly. Bullying, rejection, public criticism, church wounds, family invalidation, social anxiety, and trauma around visibility. This is why people can't inherit their divine compensation package. People aren't bad people. We gotta remember this. I teach this in my studio all the time, in my coaching practice. People aren't bad people because they're bad people. People often fail because they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan as it relates to the bullying, the rejection, the public criticism, the church wounds, the family invalidation, the social anxiety, and the trauma around visibility. Right? Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk now about the psychology around audience fear. Most people and performers are not actually afraid of the audience. What they're really afraid of is judgment. I'll read that one more time. Most people are not actually afraid of audiences. They are afraid of judgment. And more specifically, they are afraid of rejection, humiliation, and emotional exposure. You got to remember that human beings are tribal creatures. And historically, exclusion threatened survival. Okay? I teach this all the time. In the past, if you were kicked out of your tribe, say that the 7 of us were walking through the tundra in prehistoric times, or I don't know who's here. So 7, 8 of us were walking through the prehistoric tundra. And if you all kicked me out, if you all swiped left or swiped out of the TikTok room in prehistoric times, I could get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. I could get trampled by a woolly mammoth, right? And my epigenetics and my genes remember that feeling. Historically, exclusion threatened our very survival. Okay? You have your great-great-grandmother's nose on your face. And how she lived and how she felt and what she went through is coursing through your veins. All right? You don't beat up yourself because historically exclusion threatened your survival. It's just part of what being human is all about. So when a crowd watches you, ancient survival systems start to activate. Now, on top of the history of your great grandma's nose on your face, on top of your great grandma's nose on your face, okay? Let's add on top of that social media. Let's stack on top of that viral culture. Let's put on top of that online criticism. Let's put on top of that comparison culture. And then let's put on top of all of that the biggest disturbance in the field and the force of them all, perfectionism. Oh my gosh. Perfectionism has killed more of my clients' dreams than anything else. Sure, they will accept that social media is a pain in the ass. Sure, they will accept that they may never go viral in their lives. As a person who's gone viral multiple times, let me tell you something. As a person who's gone viral multiple times, you don't change much. Sure, they may accept online criticism, and sure, they may understand that comparing yourself to other people is the thief of joy. Write that down. Comparison is the thief of joy. So you may understand all those things, but then you want your presentation online, or you want your presentation towards other humans in the world to be perfect. Perfectionism. And with all of those things stacked, your visibility suddenly feels dangerous. And many people and performers secretly believe if I make one mistake, everything else is going to fall apart. But pros understand something important. Audiences are usually not searching for perfection. They're searching for connection. They're searching for connection. Not searching for perfection. They're searching for connection. Okay? 1 in 6 adults in the United States are really lonely. 1 in 6 adults in the United States are lonely to the point of deep despair and depression. 1 in 6. Every 11 minutes in our country, which means in the time that we've been together, 3 people have already left here prematurely at their own hands because of that disconnection. Can't talk about it too much on TikTok. They don't like that. It makes them uncomfortable, but it's true. 1 in 6 people are depressed and lonely. Every 11 minutes in our country, because of that loneliness and that emotional disconnection, someone steps in front of a plane like the person did with Frontier the other day, or other things that we can't talk about on TikTok. These people are not searching for perfect friends or perfect family. They're searching for connection. People will forgive your nervousness. People will forgive your imperfection. What they remember is your authenticity. And a connected performance or presentation with flaws is often more powerful than a technically perfect, disconnected one. Let's move forward and talk about how chronic anxiety affects the voice and the body. Anxiety lives in your body. This means that it affects your breathing, your vocal tone, your resonance, your posture, tension, stamina, pitch stability, and your articulation. When performers are anxious, their shoulders will creep up and rise. Their jaws will tighten. Their tongue tension will increase. Their breath becomes shallow. Their throat constricts. I've had all of these things throughout my life. Shoulders rising, jaws tightening, tongue tension increases, breath becomes shallow, and throat constriction. And then they blame themselves for sounding unstable. But the voice is connected to the nervous system. A dysregulated nervous system creates a dysregulated instrument. And this is why technical training alone is sometimes insufficient for people. A singer or performer or a human may know exactly what to do technically and still struggle because their voice and their body does not feel safe. And it does not feel safe enough to execute consistently. This is why your emotional regulation matters in your professional training. Let's talk now about breathing patterns that sabotage your performance. Your breath is one of the first casualties of anxiety. Anxious people and performers often hold their breath unconsciously. They breathe high into the chest. They overbreathe. They rush phrases. They tighten their abdominal support. They collapse their airflow. And when these things happen, your pitch will suffer, your stamina will suffer, your speaking will become shaky, and your tone will become unstable. Healthy breath. Something just fell over in the studio. Healthy breath. It must have been those ancestors that we talked to this afternoon, Kwan A. It had to be those ancestors that we summoned. Healthy breath creates stability. One of the most powerful things a performer can do and practice is regulated breathing before performance stress arises. Slow exhale work is especially important because long exhales communicate safety to the nervous system. So if I get really, really worked up in my share with you today in this masterclass, I can start to lengthen the ends of my sentences so that my breath talking to you is longer than my inhale. Little trick of the trade. Slow exhale work is especially important because long exhales communicate to your amygdala that your nervous system and your body is safe. So one of my ancestors just threw a mop into the floor behind this green screen here. And it was like, oh, who the fuck is in here with me right now? Who's in here? And so what I did was come back into what we're doing and start to allow the long exhale of my share to begin to tell my body that I'm actually safe in this space and I'm not under attack without even taking the time to go into a practice. This is a major, major tip. If you don't get anything else out of what we've shared today, if you don't stop the tape, because I'm old, it's a tape. If you don't stop the podcast and rewind on anything else, rewind on this. Slow exhale work is especially important because long exhales communicate safety to the nervous system. Also, don't sleep on the relaxing of the shoulders. Several times during this presentation today, I had a lot of stress today. Someone knocked out the back window of our car to steal nothing. So I've had a stressful day. And that stress can start to creep into this presentation. Several times during this presentation, I have just relaxed my shoulders and created a long exhale on what I was saying to you. Instant transformation in the performance. How do you train for this? How have I trained for this? Inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 or 8. You ready? Let's do it. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6 or 8. Inhale. Exhale. If you did it with me, whether you're listening in the podcast replays or you're on Substack or you're on YouTube or Facebook or you're on TikTok live, you will find an instant calm, and all of these calming hormones and chemicals begin to just rush over you now. So do it one more time. In for 4, out for 6 or 8. Instant relief. You get extra points if you can do it while actively speaking and singing. I've been training for years professionally, so I can do that in the middle of a song. I can do that while I'm talking to you on TikTok and instantly bring physiological activation to myself and instant calm. If you don't remember anything I've said to you in this life, try that. Try that in an interview. Try that before an interview. Try that before a performance. In for 4, out for 6 or 8. Major game changer. You're telling your amygdala in your gray matter, it's cool. No one's chasing me, and no one's going to put barbecue sauce on me and eat me here. There'll be no harming at the end of this particular movie. I'm safe. But your breath leads it. Another important point is that you don't have to wait until panic hits you in order to practice breath work. Train your calm consistently. Start doing that breath work tonight. Stick with it for 7, 14, 21, 30, 60, 90 days. Send me a message over at askdrflo@gmail.com or askdrflo on Instagram, or text me at 404-585-1278. Let me know how that works out for you. Free game. All right, let's talk now about rehearsal mistakes that increase anxiety. And this section is for everybody because I believe that all of life is a stage. But this section is especially for performers, okay? And other people that perform in life or are outspoken or want to be more outgoing in life. Many performers accidentally rehearse anxiety, okay? Some of the common mistakes that performers do is that they over-rehearse from panic. Practicing while emotionally flooded reinforces your fear pathways. Another thing that people do is practice only perfectly. Meaning, if you rehearse only under ideal conditions, or if you prepare for a job interview only under ideal conditions, your nervous system becomes very fragile. You'll need things to be just so to be okay in the world. And if a bird poops on you before you walk into your interview, or if a ancestral mop falls behind you in the kitchen in your office, you're fucked. F-U-C-K'd. Because your nervous system has become so fragile. You can't recover, right? If you practice and you speak only in perfect conditions. Also, you will struggle if you never simulate pressure. Many artists rehearse privately but never practice exposure. What does that look like? You'd be surprised how many of my clients and strangers that I meet online daily, and I meet probably 10,000 new people every week online on TikTok and beyond. I'm followed by a cumulative 10,000 people, and I meet an additional 10,000 every week. And you'd be surprised how many of those people are very uncomfortable going live with me. Meaning, it's one thing for us to talk privately in a call or in a one-on-one. But what if you came on stage with me and we just went and showed all of YouTube who we are? They're like, oh, Dr. Flo, wait now, wait. I'll be in calls with people. I have technology set up where I can be in a private Google Meet with someone, and I can push a button and take it out to all of my hundreds. I got over 500 subscribers on YouTube. I could put us in front of all 500 with an email notification going out instantaneously. And I tell them, eventually I'm going to get you to a place where we could just go live together and just share your story with the world. And they go, what? You're not doing it right now, are you? I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that to you, and I'm not doing that right now. But simulating pressure is how you practice that exposure in your life. Another thing that people do that brings them anxiety is criticizing themselves constantly. A harsh inner dialogue increases your performance threat. Now, this is the part that I can't fix for you. I can tell you that you is kind, you is smart, you is important. I can tell you those things in a coaching scenario for the next 30 years. But if the moment that you leave this TikTok or the moment that you leave a private coaching with me and you go back into your life, into a mirror, and you call yourself ugly, or you tell yourself that you don't have enough education, or if you start rehearsing the things that your family said to you that discouraged you, that's going to be a performance threat. I can build you up, and trust me, that's all I want to do. I gave my life. I quit Broadway and I quit corporate America to go into full-time encouragement. It is a joy of my life to wake up every day and to encourage the bold dreamers. It really is. I could burst into tears about it. I never saw this coming. I thought I'd be kissing producers' asses on Broadway and kissing corporate guys on in corporate. I thought I'd be kissing their asses forever. The fact that I get to get up every day and encourage bold dreamers is a gift. But no matter what encouragement I do with you in these sessions for free, or in private premium coaching or slide and scale coaching or whatever the fuck, if you do not love yourself when I'm not around, you're creating a performance threat. My partner and manager, some of y'all know Poppy. Poppy would often talk about how he could tell, his background, I should say, is in early childhood development and education. And he said that he could always tell who a child spent the weekend with by how they showed up on Monday morning. If the kid spent the weekend with the grounded parent in control or around the grounded parent, they would come back on Monday morning to the school grounded. If they spent the weekend with the chaotic parent and the parent out of control, they would come back acting wild because that parent is reinforcing an inner dialogue. Your environment affects you, and your internal environment also affects you. If you're wondering why you haven't gone live yet or you haven't put your story out in the world yet, it's because something's happening in that inner dialogue. And we can work on that together, or you can work on it on your own. It's really up to you. Another thing that gets in the way is that people practice exhausted, or they try to share their stories exhausted. And burnout increases your nervous system instability. And lastly, people have obsessive comparison, and social media contributes to this. Comparison destroys your grounded presence. Professionals and individuals build very structured rehearsal systems. And so, what does a structured system look like? It looks like rest. It looks like recovery. It looks like gradual exposure, meaning that you don't need to go live in front of thousands of people today, but you may want to go live with one or two or three. And we have programs here in the network that can step you up into gradual exposure. Some of you don't want 10,000 people in your business, combined over all of my platforms, 10,000 people plus follow me. All 10,000 plus of them, and some strangers have seen my car window busted out the car today. Some of y'all don't want that kind of exposure. You're not ready for it. So we can gradually inch you into that. Another thing that we do and we work on here is emotional regulation. Some of y'all will come through the TikTok as you're scrolling for your next hit of dopamine. And while you're coming through TikTok for your next hit of dopamine, for your receptors, you'll be like, oh, Dr. Flo's in there talking again about emotional regulation. Let me get the fuck up out of here. I thought he was going to be cooking a nice piece of fish. I thought he was going to be dancing silly. I don't want to talk about emotional regulation today. But let me tell you something. Getting on top of your emotional regulation will change your entire game. I talk about emotional regulation a lot. In fact, today in the chakra system, which isn't part of this presentation, but in our chakra system today, we're talking on Tuesdays always about the solar plexus chakra. And that's where the butterflies are in your stomach. And getting emotionally regulated about what you're doing or not doing with your life will help improve your game. Also consider repetition under pressure and supportive feedback environments. Some of you are very uncomfortable reading. Reading words on the page out of a book. You come coach with me, we'll open your favorite book and start reading off the pages. There's so many people that I work with who were terrified of reading in high school in class because they were afraid of being judged or considered unintelligent. A supportive feedback environment like the ones that we have here in the network allows you to read and make mistakes and get used to it. You'd be surprised how many people are very, very afraid of reading in public. They'd rather perish in the flames. But a supportive feedback environment will help that. Confidence is not random. It is trained familiarity. Confidence is not random. Yes, he says, yeah, people, from my research and studies and from working with people, this is my 9th year of doing what I do. The first 4 years were part-time. The last 5 years have been full-time. And in my 9 years of working with people in these areas, I found a lot of people are very scared of reading out loud. Even when I was doing the flight attendant training that I had years ago to become a flight attendant, people in class were very, they were able to learn first aid and CPR and all of the rapid response stuff, but reading the announcements to the passengers on the plane, they didn't like that. Because believe it or not, folks, there are people who hate their voices. There are people who hate the way their voices sound. There's a lot of people. And there are people who hate the way their voices sound coming out of their face. And there are people who hate the way their voices sound when it's played back to them. If you can believe that, there are people who hate hearing their voices on audio or video. You have to train yourself to become familiar with how your voice sounds and learn to love it. All right. And sorry, not sorry about the length of this masterclass. It's fucking free. So sorry, not sorry. Kwane. Talking point 8. Emotional safety. And how do you create it before performance? You know, I point to Kwane because Kwane is always going to give me a high five. She's my amen corner. When I was thinking about launching People Pleasers Anonymous globally, and when I start to like judge myself for the work that I do, and I wonder if I'm doing the most or whatever, I'm like, Kwane, this shit's free. What am I apologizing for? This is free. I almost said like, I'm so sorry, y'all. We're running over. Da 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 da. Like, what the fuck? Talking point 8 of 10 for fucking free. I don't need to apologize. And y'all don't need to apologize. It's all love. Talking point 8 is all about creating emotional safety before performances or whatever you're working on. Many people and performers prepare technically, but not emotionally. And your emotional safety matters. Thank you, sister. You're so awesome. Your emotional safety matters. Ask yourself, what helps my body feel grounded before visibility? Essentially, what helps you and your body feel grounded before you're seen by people? Before you get out of the car and walk into that grocery store around all those people, what helps you feel grounded? Some of the things that may help you feel grounded are breath work. Also, y'all, I have ADHD. I have adult ADHD. It's gotten worse with technology. So I always keep a fidget spinner on set or in my bag because sometimes I have to like just let the hamster wheel like do its thing. It's not because I'm nervous. It's just that I have ADHD. And I think I left my other fidget spinner with the moving pieces. Oh, this one moves too. I think I left it over there where the ancestors kicked over my mom. So some of the things that can help your body feel grounded before you're visible are breath work, prayer, stretching, vocal warm-ups, silence, hydration, supportive community, avoiding chaotic environments, reducing overstimulation, and affirming self-talk. You may want to rewind this part of the podcast as well and the teaching. Here's some ways that you can feel grounded before showing up in the world. Breath work, prayer, stretching, vocal warm-ups, silence, hydration, supportive community, avoiding chaotic environments, reducing overstimulation, and affirming self-talk. And affirming self-talk is another word for affirmations. I love affirmations. And the reason why I love affirmations, and I felt some of y'all roll your eyes. I felt some of y'all roll your eyes. Okay? But the reason why I love affirmations is because affirmations are going to happen in your life whether you want them to or not. An affirmation that people will say subconsciously or consciously is, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I don't have enough blank. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough talent. And you're going to be affirming things over yourself, whether it's positive or negative. Most people's affirmations and self talk and self affirmations are negative. I'll give you an example. I just discovered that my face is not symmetrical. Some of you who've been around in TikTok for the last couple of days have heard me obsessing about this bullshit. I just discovered that my face is not symmetrical. This side of my face is a little puffier than this side. And I had read somewhere online that like only like models and beautiful people have symmetrical faces. I don't know when I drank this lie in like 20 years ago, but I really read somewhere and believed that models and beautiful people have symmetrical faces. When in fact, most people do not have symmetrical faces. And so I was going through some photos of me as a flight attendant like 16, 17 years ago. And I realized that 20-year-old me, even then, I did not have a symmetrical face. Okay. Now, what if I went around to myself? Once again, I don't know who you all are when I'm not around. And I certainly don't read minds. So I don't know what you're saying to yourself when you're not speaking out loud. And I don't pry. I drink my water and mind my business. I don't know what you're saying to yourself. But imagine if I kept telling myself, ooh, your face is not symmetrical, Dr. Flo. You're ugly. Brushing my teeth. Your face is not symmetrical. You're ugly. Your voice is raspy. That don't sound good. And a lot of people have negative self-talk going all day. Another thing, my father as a child used to say, who do you think you are, boy? Who do you think you are, boy? And so as I have navigated my life and my career paths, and as I reach for more for my life, occasionally I'll hear my father's voice or my voice saying, who do you think you are, boy? I've had to work for years to overcome that nonsense to be able to get to my dreams, to get to my happy, to get to my healthy, to get to my free. I've had to hear my father and myself say, who do you think you are, boy? And still go do it. Oh, and my daddy's dead. So I'm not here pretending with you all like negative self talk is easy to overcome, but you're gonna have to overcome it to get what you want out of this life for you. And affirming self talk, I'm loved and lovable. I'm enough. I'm capable. I love myself, therefore I will reach for my dreams. I love myself, therefore I will talk to positive people. I love myself, so I will surround myself with loving community. I love myself, so I'll eat healthy foods. I love myself, therefore you fill in the blank. I love myself, therefore I fill in the blank. Even though my father told me that I wasn't worth a damn, I love myself, therefore I will still reach for my dreams. Come on, somebody. You start to replace all the things that the naysayer said to you and that the bully said to you with I love myself, therefore I. Let me move on before I turn over everything in here. I'm just teaching y'all how I got free and how I stay free. It ain't easy. People will come to steal, kill, and destroy your dreams every day if you allow it. But hold up. I love myself. Therefore, I let go of everything and everyone in any environment that doesn't serve my highest good. I love myself, therefore I focus on what makes me happy, what makes me healthy, and what keeps me free. Hey, come on. Some performers sabotage themselves by surrounding themselves with anxiety producing people before performances. Some of you may be surrounding yourselves with anxiety producing people in life. Your environment matters, and professionals protect their environmental atmosphere. I've lost so many friends and family members and professional relationships because I don't allow anyone to talk to me on the same day. And they think I'm an arrogant asshole for this. If you want to talk to me, it's going to be after 6:32 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. No one talks to me day of. No one in life, except for my husband, nobody texts me and says, "Can you call me now?" Hasn't happened in 8, 9 years. They had I've lost friends and relatives. People think I don't love them. They think I don't care about them. They think I'm an arrogant asshole. You cannot book with me on the same day, and I'm not calling you back on the same day unless you're in a deep, deep, deep pickle. Everybody leaves a message first, and I listen to the message, and usually after listening to the message, I go book on my calendar tomorrow. Because professionals protect their emotional atmosphere. You do not need backstage chaos to prove that you're professional. You don't need people interrupting your energetic flow. You need regulation. And one of the most powerful things that a person can do is develop self-compassion. A regulated inner voice changes your performance, and it changes that performance dramatically. We got 2 more points to go, and then I'll let you go back to your lives. Let's talk now about recovery after a bad performance or a public embarrassment. Put a 1 in the chat if you have been publicly embarrassed. I'll put a 1 in the chat myself. Put a 1 in the chat if you've been publicly embarrassed ever. Or if you've had a bad performance. Cam, you've been publicly embarrassed? Great. Yeah. Not great, but great. Not great, but great. Because the fact that you had a public embarrassment or a bad performance and you still have the confidence to own it and say 1, girl, you're further than you think. You're further than you think, bitch. Loved and lovable. You're further than you think. E, okay, I see you. Every serious person and every serious performer has had a bad performance or a bad moment. Every single one. Professionals, Broadway performers, recording artists, speakers, actors, teachers, pastors, creators, everybody has had a bad performance. Everybody has had a moment of embarrassment. I was at a, I was one of those kids that took, you probably could tell, I was one of those kids who went to extra school on the weekends. So I had Monday through Friday classes in throughout K through 12. And then I also either auditioned or applied for extra school on the weekend. So I went to Saturday classes, not because I was falling behind in my grades. I liked school. So I went to school on the weekend. And I started in middle school taking classes in electrical engineering at the local community college. They had this program whose name I can't recall, but you could go to the local community college in Richmond, Virginia, and you could take STEM classes, programming classes, electronic classes. You can learn how to make your own radio and program your own computer programs and surf the internet. And I went to Saturday school. And one Saturday at this program, I forgot that I needed to pee. I forgot that I needed to pee. And my bus was I was catching the bus to and from this program in middle school. And somehow my timing got off, and I didn't think that I had enough time to pee and not miss my bus. So I just held it and got on the elevator. And if you've ever been on an elevator when you had to pee, it's a problem. You don't want to get on an elevator and need to pee. Whisper POV, it's so good to see you. That's one of my new Academy students in Nigeria. What time is it in Africa? Isn't it your bedtime? That's one of my new 20-something students. Shout out to Nigeria. You're loved and lovable. That is one of my newest students and members of Love City Arts Academy in the great country of Nigeria. Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever. I love you, man. Thank you for joining Love in Action Network. And he's already in the programs. He's already in his student portal. He's ready. He's ready to go. And it's 12 p.m. It's midnight in Nigeria. And here he is hanging with us for a little bit here and getting to know us better. I know it's bedtime, so I'm gonna get this done pretty soon for everybody else as well. It's only 6:38 here in the States. But I love you already. And he came into the program, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, wanting to strengthen his voice and his ability to speak on camera in Nigeria. And when I say that he has $1 million smile, this kid has a smile that lights up the room. I knew that I was going to take him on as my student when he stepped in smiling. I'm like, do you know how awesome your smile is? You can do whatever you want to do with your life. You can teach whatever you want to teach. You can do as many videos as you want to do. You have a brilliant smile in Nigeria. Your smile is going to change the world. Black boy joy is going to change the world. Thank you more, please. Thank you more, please. I'll text you tomorrow when I'm in the office and get you your homework and your next class date. But love to Nigeria. So I got on this elevator, running late and needing to pee. And the moment the elevator moved, I peed on myself. A puddle went into the elevator. I had to go back up to the professor of the community college as a middle school student and say, not only have I missed my bus, but I pissed myself. Public embarrassment. They eventually wrapped me in a towel, and the teacher took me home. And of course, my family made fun of me for pissing myself as a middle schooler on the. I survived it. Every single person on the planet, whether you are a professional, a Broadway performer, a recording artist, a speaker, an actor, a teacher, a pastor, a creator, everyone has embarrassed themselves or had a bad performance, but many people emotionally collapse after their mistakes. They catastrophize. They say things like, I'm terrible. I'll never recover. Everybody noticed. I should quit. But most audiences move on faster than performers do. One bad moment in your life does not erase your talent. And recovery, learning how to recover from embarrassing moments and unfavorable outcomes on stage and on live streams, recovery is a professional skill. What the Broadway performers and the pro performers don't tell you is that all of acting and all of singing and all of stage performance is active recovery. You learn how to make multiple mistakes while you're speaking and while you're talking, and you learn how to recover in a way that's smooth enough that the audience forgives you. Write this down, Godwin. My student in Nigeria is here. I know he's going to win. Oh, brother Godwin, I know you're going to win. And let me speak a word of life into you. I know you're going to win tonight because it's 12 o'clock at night and your ass is in class. I know you're going to win at everything you do because it's midnight in Nigeria and you're in here. I could cry. It is your hunger in Nigeria. It is your faith that's going to make you whole. It is your faith. It is your belief in yourself to get on your phone in Nigeria in the middle of the night and come to class. Oh, let me calm down in here. I know what it's like to be hungry for your dream. I know what it's like to be hungry for your miracle. I know what it's like to be hungry for your breakthrough because you are sitting in Nigeria on the other side of the planet right now in my class. You're going to be okay. I don't know about these other people, but you're going to be okay. Every master teacher and every tradition has said your faith is what makes you whole. Your belief in yourself and your dreams and showing up is going to make you whole. I get so moved because I got people in Chicago and people in LA and people in Iowa who don't show up for Dr. Flo's masterclasses. But this man is in Nigeria, logged in, tapped in and tuned in and turned on to his miracle with $1 million smile. What's wrong with y'all? Love to Nigeria. I've never taught and spoke life into Nigeria. Up until yesterday or day before yesterday, I had never taught or taken anybody seriously in Nigeria. And now I got a student in Nigeria who's logged on in the middle of the night, learning about stage fright and how he's going to overcome it. Don't tell me love ain't real. Don't tell me love won't change your life. There's nothing you can't do or be or have. I'm speaking life into Nigeria. Step your pussy up for love. One bad moment does not erase your talent. You got to learn how to recover. Let's talk about healthy recovery. That's the way I teach, man. That's the way I teach. I'm a wild man for love. I think that everybody deserves their dream to come true. And like I told you, when I met you yesterday in Nigeria, you said, Dr. Flo, nice to meet you. I like the beard, man. I said, I love your smile, Godwin. This man is in Nigeria with $1 million smile. He has to win. I speak it. I speak it. If someone had told me 20 years ago that I would be able to log onto my computer and teach a person in Africa, I would have laughed at them. Yesterday it happened. Yesterday it started. I said, go grab all your friends in Nigeria. Tell them Dr. Flo is coming to teach you about healthy recovery. What does healthy recovery on stage look like? It looks like honest reflection, emotional processing, technical evaluation, nervous system recovery, self-compassion, and returning to your performance quickly. I'm doing it right now. I got really moved by Brother Godwin in Nigeria, but I'm having honest reflection. I'm processing my emotions. I'm evaluating the technical nature of what I'm doing. I'm recovering my nervous system. I'm offering myself self-compassion. And I'm returning to the performance quickly. Do not build your identity around isolated moments. Build your identity around resilience. The artists and the people who survive long term are not perfect. They are adaptable. And now we land on the last talking point. Godwin, you got me. Godwin, you got me. Godwin got me. There are people in Mississippi and North Carolina and New York who don't show up on time for Dr. Flo's coaching and meetings. Godwin in Nigeria was there on time yesterday. Changed my life. Changed my belief in myself. Changed how I believe about how far I can reach and impact the world. Talking point 10, the last one. How to train confidence instead of waiting for it. How to train confidence instead of waiting for it. Confidence is not magic. Confidence is evidence. Your nervous system gains trust through repetition, preparation, recovery, and successful exposure. I'll say that again. Confidence is not magic. Your confidence is evidence. Your nervous system gains trust through repetition, preparation, recovery, and successful exposure. You know what that means? That means that your confidence is trainable. You build confidence by practicing consistently, surviving imperfect performances, developing emotional regulation, learning technical skills, increasing visibility gradually, receiving support, performing repeatedly. And many people wait to feel confident before taking action. Here's what professionals understand. Professionals understand that action often creates confidence, not the other way around. You do not become confident sitting in isolation, imagining your success. You become confident through experience. Small wins matter. Safe repetitions matter. Supportive community matters. Because confidence is a muscle. And like every muscle, it strengthens through its use. I want to leave y'all with this today. And thank you, Godwin and everybody, for watching today all over the world. Your stage fright does not disqualify you from your calling. Your fear about being seen does not disqualify you from your calling. Your anxiety does not erase your talent. Your nervous system is not your enemy. Your fear is not proof that you should hide. Many, many extraordinary people are secretly battling visibility fear every day. But hiding your gifts forever is expensive. The world loses voices that were meant to be heard. Communities lose leaders. Art loses honesty. People lose examples of courage. And courage is not the absence of fear, beloveds. Courage is moving with wisdom while the fear exists. That is trainable. That is teachable. That is recoverable. And you do not have to do it alone. If this conversation tonight has resonated with you, or if you're hearing it back on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the majors, if you have resonance tonight, there are several ways that you can continue this work with me together. You've got Stage Fright Intensive Coaching. That's private coaching designed to help performers, speakers, creators, leaders, help them all understand and regulate performance anxiety while building practical confidence tools. You've got my Vocal Confidence Academy. This is a supportive training environment focused on the voice, visibility, performance confidence, emotional regulation, communication, and stage presence. You've got group performance labs. That's live practice environments where you can pick up a book and read to Dr. Flo, and I can passionately give you critique on where you can safely strengthen your performance skills. You can receive that feedback. You can increase your visibility tolerance. And you can build real world confidence through repetition in the Love in Action Network community. You are not required to become fearless to become powerful. You may simply need support, structure, training, and a safer environment to grow. On behalf of all of us in Love in Action Network globally, and our leadership team, and our donors and sponsors, and our clients and our students all over the world, I'm Dr. Flo, and I'm reminding you, as always, to stay in your power, stay in your joy, and always stay loved and lovable. I'll see you soon.